How's everyone doing tonight? I hope you're doing well. I just want to come on here. I know someone had mentioned earlier. Yes, I did have a test today. I had an exam today. I had 3 on Tuesday, so I'm a bit tired. But I know that the Follow the Money had launched a new spreadsheet for everybody, so I wanted to come on talk about that. A little bit on MMJ as well. And yeah, it's been a crazy last few days in this sector with a lot of different companies making moves one way or the other. I heard someone's thought on PAS or PAS, Pascal. I'm trying to think of their name now. I can't believe I didn't know them before yesterday or the day before whenever they exploded. So we will talk about them as well, definitely. But yeah, no, just wanted to come on. I know a lot of you have seen that I've been making posts over the last little while of different stocks to highlight in each day. I was very, very adamant that it is not a buy, sell, or hold recommendation, but more so as I was going through some of those investor presentations, some of those stocks really just stood out to me as interesting ones that I think I wanted to share so that other people can look into them too. I think that's the basis of this community that we're in, is just sharing information and sharing knowledge. So that's exactly what this spreadsheet was made for. Greg Everett is one of our members, and also George and the Follow the Money team. We all came together and thought, it'd be really interesting to have all of these companies in one spreadsheet and have them so that you can see all the different websites and, more importantly, the investor presentations. I highly recommend going on it. I'll share it at the end of this video again as well. There's a lot of good information to go through. And you'd be surprised. I went through that and I saw some companies, that I'm currently in. And I thought to myself, like, why am I in this company? I won't name any names, but, I just looked into a few and it surprised me. And then there's other companies that I looked into and I'm like, wow, why am I not in this company? You get a really good grasp of them when you look at their investor presentations. Not everything. Really good companies can have really terrible investor presentations. That happens sometimes. But just in general, I think it's a really cool thing to look through. I highly recommend doing it. It also shows a lot of companies you might not have heard of before. Different stock tickers, all that kind of stuff. So definitely give it a look. I think it's there's a lot of hours put into that. And yeah, if you have any questions or suggestions about that, just let me know at any time. Shoot me a message in the cannabis chat. Michael, MMJ. So we've gotten word actually that we are able to start the editing of our video. We thought it was going to be a few more weeks because, at the end of the day, we want to be able to go to these companies and be able to talk to them, maybe film the facilities, things like that. But at the end of the day, it's for that company to have exposures, for that company to be able to say, hey, look, this is what we are. So we have a lot of respect for when they want something to come out or don't want it to come out. So we have been given the okay. We have been able to start the editing process. We thought it was going to be a lot longer, so we're just starting that now. So I don't want to give a hard date just simply because I don't want that to be missed in any way. But over the next few days, we're definitely going to be getting it together because I think it'd be really cool to see the facility. That was the first ACMPR late applicant, hopefully cultivation in just a couple of weeks or however long it takes. That was the first facility I've been to personally, and it was really interesting being able to get to see it. And I know the facility is 10,000 square feet, but I kept telling myself, and actually I told Boris a few times, I was very surprised just how many rooms you can fit into a building like that. I think there were 7 different grow rooms. Some of them are for seedlings and some of them are for packaging, but 7 different large rooms, and that's not including the washroom, fantastic washroom, and all the different facilities there. There's a kitchen, stuff like that. So it was really interesting seeing that, and I can't wait to be able to have this short clip where you'll be able to see it yourself. So you saw what we saw. So we're getting that together right now. We'll let you know as soon as we have come closer to the ending part of the editing. It's definitely not going to be 2 weeks. I mean, we're not looking at that, but a few days we need to go through it. So we're going to let you know as soon as we have more information about that. So stay tuned. I think it'll be pretty cool seeing the inside. It looks a lot different from the last time we did a video there. So I want to make sure I touch up on that. But for ourselves here, interesting week. I know that I have been, yeah, the washrooms are the best. I don't know how many people saw my personal Twitter account. Some guy tried ripping on the washroom. It's actually a nice washroom, and flush is fantastic. It was, it was a nice place. But no, it's been an interesting week. I know that I have been very busy with things. I've had 4 exams doing my LLQP licensing exam. So that was a lot of work, but I was able to catch up on the market still, and there have been some movers to talk about. There have been some interesting things coming out. The LCBO, for anyone that doesn't know, the LCBO came out with their plan, or at least the beginnings of their plan, and they're actually, funny enough, are not going to be, initially at least, it seems, are not going to be giving out licenses, dealer licenses, like a lot of these other provinces have. I know Manitoba recently gave theirs out, and Quebec recently gave theirs out. I'm very surprised to see that, Canopy or the Supreme Cannabis Company, Aurora, I'm very surprised that none of them specifically got something with the LCBO, but that's the way that they've chosen to do it. I think the LCBO is pretty much saying, we know that they're going to be the biggest retailer of cannabis in the world. I read an article today saying that there very well may be. So I'm guessing they might be saying, like, you know what, we're going to make you guys, we're going to make you hunt us and not the other way around. So from a business perspective, I mean, it's smart for the LCBO to do that. They're going to have way more competition, which might draw down prices, at least for them, wholesale-wise. And just like with our beers, you pay a lot of money to be on the shelves of an LCBO. I've spoken to craft brewers, beer, that is. And it's expensive to get real estate in the LCBO. So I'm guessing it's something like that. It's more of a bidding war type of thing. But I don't know enough to really comment on it. So just in general, though, but it was interesting to see they didn't name anyone. I was expecting a few, so that was interesting. I know that Pascal, someone was just mentioning about that earlier as well. It was very, very interesting to see that come out, where they found supposedly a cannabinoid that will increase our body's receptors. I forget the actual science behind it, but a certain receptor that allows the treatment, different cancer treatments, to work. And this supposedly has increased that ability of those transistors, or those to be able to, or receptors, I should say, to take to these different programs to make them more successful and have a higher success rate. And if that's true, I mean, that's massive. That really, really is. I mean, you got to caution that it's still early. They're going to need to patent. There's going to be a whole process that goes on. We all saw the stock. Unfortunately, it skyrocketed up and then it fell down just as fast, it seems. So be careful if you're in there. Don't try not to react emotionally. But if that is true, that's huge for the pharmaceutical side of cannabis. I think that's really, really interesting. I'm going to be spending this weekend looking more into that because that's big. You've got companies like Veritas, VRT is their ticker, with their CTLX strain of cannabis going into human trials for pain management in Puerto Rico. You've got Harvest One, HVT. They have Satisfarm, it's their gel pells. They're going to be doing that through United Greenery, and they're going to start that. I believe I was starting to read that it might even be this month. They haven't yet, to the best of my knowledge, but they got their import license to import it from Switzerland. That's where Satisfarm is based out of. It's a subsidiary of Harvest One. It'll be really interesting if they start getting that going, because that's CBD. That's being used for different things. They have different tests right now, trials for epilepsy and things like that. These types of companies, I think, are the ones to really look into because they could be, it's a niche market that you're not going to be able to make at home. Sure, people are going to be able to grow plants and things like that, but who's going to be able to take CBD oil out of their plants and put it into a time-release capsule and give it to you, for administration? They're not going to be able to. So those are the companies, the niche companies. There's lots of niches, but that's the one that interests me right now. To look into, because I think they don't need to have those massive facilities to be good companies, to be big companies. They need patents, they need an audience, and the more these researchers come out saying how good it is for our bodies, I hope we continue to hear more things, the more we're going to see these companies really start catching people's attention. So just like hemp, I think hemp is next as well. Start looking into hemp plays. Not anytime in the near future, but that's something to start looking into. Don't be caught flat-footed with it. Start researching. Again, go to our spreadsheet that I'll share again. It was for the investor presentations for all of the Canadian listed publicly traded companies. Go on to there because all of those stocks have their investor presentations right there. Half the stuff that I'm saying right now is from those investor presentations. It's been really, really interesting. For as much as I know about the sector, when you look into it even more, it amazes you. You go to the company and like, I didn't know they did that. I didn't know this person had part ownership in that. It's a lot of different stuff there. So definitely something to look into for yourself. Check out BOC, should run soon. I haven't looked into them in the last few days, so I'll have to look into that and see what we can go with that stock there. So again, thank you, Alex, for bringing that up. All these stocks are great to look into. Never, again, take our word for it. If you hear me mention a stock, it's meant to be, hey, I'm excited about this stock. There might be a reason to go look into it. And always do your own due diligence. If you have a question for me, you can always ask me. You can always ask one of our administrators or put it in the cannabis chat. There's 250 people there who are constantly looking at what's next, what's happening today, what's happening next week, this week, next month, next year. Put those questions in there. That's why we have those chat rooms, so that you can look into things and have a lot of different people's opinions. But always make sure at the end of the day, when you push send or you push sell or you push buy, whatever it be, make sure you've put the homework in, you've looked into it, you've talked to us, you've talked to whoever, and it's your own decision in the end. That's the very important part throughout all of this. That's what we stand for. So be sure to look into those. Seeing through a few things here. Thoughts on LeafMed Relief. So Med Relief, they've been a very, very interesting play. They didn't go up in price as much as the rest of the LPs have. The LPs, some of them shot up like crazy. But at the same time, they retracted almost as much, if not more, than some of the LPs. It's kind of an anomaly. I'm surprised because it didn't go that much up. Yeah, it's really, really coming down. I like the company. I do. I think they've got a lot of potential. And the share price, it's a lot less than it was just a couple of months ago. I think it's something to look into. I know Alan Brockstein over at 420 Investor, another really, really good person to listen to and to read his material at New Cannabis Ventures. He really, really goes into that company in detail as well, because he likes the management team, the price point, things like that. But he's a CFA. Understand the difference between him and I. He has done this for a very long time. When he'll be a little bit more into, yes, you should buy this, or no, you shouldn't. So he's a great resource as well, and he's qualified to be making those types of comments as well. So, but he really, really likes Med Relief, so it's definitely a company to look into. What we'll do at this point, I really want to make sure I mentioned the video for MMJ coming out soon. I really want to make sure, just going over our spreadsheet and to continue to look at different ways of learning. But I was also just going to go through random stocks that people were bringing up. I know I was just actually getting caught up a little while ago on different cannabis plays. It looks like, for the most part, we had a pretty good close today in the market, which is nice. I mean, there was definitely things that were down as well, but for the most part, it seemed quite horizontal. So it was nice to see a few plays really going up there. Veritas, I don't know what exactly it has been for the last few days, but it's really been making ground. Whether there's news coming out, I know they're waiting for Seckle, I might be saying that wrong, in BC. They're waiting for a license, so it could be news, an update on them coming up. Or it could just be that the market is bringing them back to where they were for a long time, in the 60 or 70 cent range. So that was an interesting one to see. It's always hard when you miss the close because you're doing whatever, and then you start seeing the prices afterwards, the ones that you're really happy about, and the ones you look at and like, okay, when are you going to turn around? But if anyone has any questions, I mean, that's what I'm here for. I talked about a lot of things I wanted to. I'm just signing into all the different stocks that I cover as well. If you've got certain things that you're curious about, if you've got a certain play that you're curious about, maybe I know a little bit more about, we can talk about it, but I'll let the questions come in for anyone who wants to bring up a discussion. Bringing up Pascal again, yeah, definitely something to look into. Be careful right now with that stock, simply because that stock, if you look at it, I mean, I'll pull it up right now really quickly here. It started off at 10 cents or something like that just a few days ago. It's amazing what it's done, and then it skyrocketed to 80 something. What was the high? It says 72 cents. I'm pretty sure it went much higher than that during the day, and it's unfortunately, it's plummeted since then. It's down at it closed at 47 cents, down 34% today. So those ones are the ones really excited company to look into. Like, I'm fascinated by stuff like that, but the stock itself, just be mindful. It's going to be a roller coaster for right now. There's a lot of volume, a lot of share trading hands, and they have a low float. So you see a lot of volatility. So if you're not a day trader, or if you want to, go into that investment and then you can look away for a few weeks or something like that, just understand what you're getting into. It's going to be a volatile ride. TFS and Cantab. TFS, Telford Scott and Cantab, they've been shut down for a while. They've been halted. I'm personally a shareholder myself. I believe from memory it was March 22nd. So they still have until March 22nd to have that shareholder meeting, pretty much saying we want to obviously do the reverse takeover. They also have the stock split. I don't like the stock split. It was halted by the time I can think more on it, but I do like Cantab. I do like their proprietary, I know it's soon to be a patent, hopefully a patent technology on the 12-hour release formula that Emblem has an LOI with them, because Emblem wants to use it for their pills so that when you administer THC or CBD, whatever it be, it'll be over 12 hours. It'll be prolonged. That's very important, because that then, it's not just a quick dose of it. A lot of different research right now is about how can you administer this over a certain period of time where it's effective over long periods of times. And we're really starting to see that now. So I don't like the stock split of TFS and Cantab. It's going to be a longer wait still to come. March 22nd, I'm almost positive that's the date to look out for. But, I'm in them right now. I'll see it through. Love the company, love the promise. Don't like the stock split. Alex, good question. What's my take on what I think is going to happen next? So another disclaimer, this is opinion. This is not exactly what is going to happen, and every day I have to reassess, which is another great reason why I love being a part of this community, because we're constantly getting to talk to people like Ross Chapman, great person to talk to. George, great person to talk to. All of our different people. Greg Allen, who's in our group as well. You'll see him posting things all the time. Great person to talk to. There's all these great people who put a lot of time into trying to figure out what's going on. So it's a great community to do that for. But what do I personally think? I cannot see another bull run not happening personally. There's been no legalization, a run up to legalization that hasn't seen a bull run. You've seen it in Colorado, Washington. You just recently saw it in California. You're seeing these different events where the money starts pouring back in. I cannot guarantee that, but I'll be very surprised if it did not happen. Very surprised, because we are about to be the first G20 country, first G7 country as well, to fully legalize cannabis. That is huge. You cannot put an explanation point of how big that actually is for North America, for Western civilization, for the world. I hope that we're the beginning of us going away from this fallacy that cannabis is this evil reefer madness plant that we shall be scared of. It's not. We know that. If you look at the deaths from different things, if you look at I won't go into that. It's a little bit more political. It's amazing to see that it's coming together. It's amazing to see all the different derivatives that are going to be coming from it. It's going to be a game changer for our country, for exports especially, because we're going to be exporting a lot of cannabis. Another reason why I know that our liberal government will go through with it, because there's way too much money at stake right now. There's way too much money, billions of dollars entered into our cannabis sector from all around the world. That's not going anywhere. It's here. And we are going to be the ones capitalizing on being the first movers for all of this. So it's going to be an exciting time. Right now, there's a limbo right now. You know, that the markets are still, are we in a bull run? Are we not? Is this just a correction? Are we in a bear market? I don't think we are in a bear market. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily qualified to really call that out. But I think it's going to be a great run-up coming up. And something that's very interesting, actually, was someone said, if we are in a bear market, let's go with that assumption for now. If we are in a bear market, all these mutual fund managers and hedge fund managers, they've been used to very high margins of return over the last few years, because you can throw a dart and just win. If the market in general starts going down, these fund managers are going to look for ways to pad their numbers, knowing that cannabis is going legal in Canada, and right now we're just waiting for the actual vote on it and the royal ascension, stuff like that. There's a theory that a lot of this fund money will come into our markets when they see that it's starting to really start going, and they're going to push that market all the way up because they're trying to pad the numbers of their weak results if the rest of the world is being very stagnant. So, you know, it's an interesting point that money will still find its way in, because they know whether it's there to stay or whether it's a quick bull run, they want to capitalize on that. I think it's going to last for weeks or even a couple of months. But again, this is all theory, this is all opinion, but I think it'd be very, very interesting to see all that money coming in. So definitely, I think there's going to be another rush. What's going to happen afterwards? That's the hard part. Is there going to be a sell-off? Absolutely, there's going to be some sort of sell-off. I believe so, but is it going to be as big as everyone else thinks? I don't think so. For the first time, all of these different fund managers and all of that can't put their funds in there because it's still technically illegal, they're going to be putting all their money into these different companies now because they're going to be able to. They're going to have full legal right to have their money in these fields. So that's something we haven't been talking about either. A lot of money that hasn't come into play yet can come into play once it's legal. So I think there's still a lot to go, but that really, really emphasizes the point that I made before. Start looking for companies who are going to be winners. Don't blindly throw a dart this time. I think you're going to get burned if you do. There's a lot of companies, again, look at their investor presentations. This isn't necessarily just a plug to go with that spreadsheet. I think it's really useful, but what it absolutely is for you to go and research the companies that you're in, research the companies you want to get in, because this rush is going to be very important. You've picked winners. And winners are going to be the massive LPs. I don't care if their price goes in half afterwards. They're going to be winners. ACB, your Canopy Growth Corporation, Canatrust, TRST, that company again from their investor presentation really impressed me. A free, Med Relief. These are going to be winners of high quality. The Supreme Cannabis Company as well. High quality, lots and lots and lots of cannabis. They're going to be the winner of that. But some of these smaller ones might not be able to compete in the long run. A lot of them have cash right now. You know, they're flush with cash. We saw January, so many private raisings, and they still have warrants out, so they'll get lots of money from that as well. But in the next year to 2 years, you've got to be mindful of these companies that don't have distribution deals. They don't have the ability to sell their cannabis. That's worrisome if you're in those companies. But the smaller companies can still be good companies if they are derivative companies like Harvest One per se, where they've got the Satis Farm, they've got their gel pills, they have CBD oil. The pharmaceutical plays are going to be great plays, I think, if they can do it well. Hemp's going to be a massive, massive rush that I truly think it's going to be soon when there's certain things they're not allowed doing still. Our legal system's still a little bit strange around hemp. When that starts loosening, that's a big one to start looking into as well, because hemp is going to be used for so many different things. Companies that are in CBD products, like wellness products, where they're using hemp for food or hemp for energy drinks. I think that's going to be a big one. Energy drinks for different athletes and things like that. Those are the companies I think you should start looking into because those are the ones that will weather the storm because they have their own niche. They have their own area that they're focusing on. So find your niche markets, find your massive players who are, I don't want to say too big to fail because it's way too infant to try to use that term, but around that line, and hemp. I think hemp is a really good play as well. So I hope that that answered what do I think is going to happen and what do I think the next play is. But that still doesn't mean that whenever the legalization comes, July, August, September, whatever it is, I don't think the cannabis market is dead after that. If there's a sell-off, sure, that just gives another reason for other people to get back in as well. It's just started. It's just begun, and it is going to be massive, especially those who have international deals and distribution deals, because a lot of these countries are allowing cannabis and medical cannabis and CBD oils and things like that. They're allowing them to be imported into their country right now, but they're not allowing cultivation in their country. That gives us a massive, massive head start and a huge competitive advantage for our Canadian players for the next year, 18 months, whatever it is, before they start legalizing as well, because I think they will. But it still gives a really, really great prospect of the next year. So still lots to look into, but it changes every day. You got to keep looking at the market, keep reacting to it, keep asking us our opinions, because I guarantee you, next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, it very well could be different. I try to analyze it every day and try to figure out what's going on, because it's changing so quickly with everything that's going on. ISOL. To anybody who knows me, they know this is the bane of my investing career. Not because it's a bad company, but because I missed it by half a cent before it went from 28 cents all the way up to almost $2. I had a $3,000 order in for 27.5 cents. I missed it by half a cent. So it's only the bane just because of that. But that company, you know, they've seen their price really come back down. They have a lot of revenue. If you look at their revenue of the last few quarters, they are a revenue producing company. That's important. A lot of these other companies are not revenue producing companies. It's not a bad thing necessarily if you're not one, but it's a good thing if you are one. I like them. I do. I know they've had a lot of different things come out. They've been pumping out advertising, all of that, but their stock hasn't been moving. But you have to come back to perspective. We're saying that his stock hasn't been moving, or we're saying that stock has come back. Just in November, their stock was like 27 cents. It's gone up by over 400% since that time. If you got it in the 20s, the 50s, and the 60s, and the 70s, you're still loving that stock. So it's perspective, right? We saw this huge run in stock pricing, and then all of a sudden, yeah, they've retracted, but they're still so much up from what they were just a few months ago. So I'm not worried about ISOL. I think they're going to be a good company. I want to continue to look into them, but they're going out there. They're making deals. They're pushing forward. And they're revenue producing. That's important. When you're looking right now, you're going into the legalization. You're going into, okay, there's some companies who have now been in the business for quite some time now. The learning curve's behind them. They're getting their cost per grams down. They're getting their revenues up. They're building their networks. It's going to become harder and harder, I think, for these companies to be coming in and just exploding and having all this optimism around them, because it's going to get harder now. These bigger companies are going to be eating up smaller companies. They're going to be pushing them or putting it to a price where these other guys can't compete with, or quite simply just have those deals with the different countries or provinces or whatever it be, and the others are trying to fight over scraps. So it goes back to that point as well. Really look into the companies that you're in right now, because going into this rush, I think the whole tide is going to lift. I really, really do. But not all are going to win. And not all are going to be good companies, or even companies in general, say 2 years down the road. I'm just making up a random time, but just got to be careful moving forward. Do I have any thoughts on Nuvera? Well, Nuvera is going to be anytime now Aphria. Aphria has bought them out. They actually revised their deal as well in the last little while. Nuvera was really interesting because Nuvera gave Aphria a lot of international exposure. Not only that, Nuvera, one of the companies, another company you hear about me talk about all the time is ICC Labs, based out of Uruguay. Nuvera had a deal with ICC Labs for 150 kilograms of CBD crystal. And if you look up the pricing on CBD crystal, it's expensive. It goes for a good amount of money because CBD crystal is a very pure form of it. So that's a really, really good deal. And now that deal is with Aphria. So you've basically made this deal with Nuvera, who's in numerous countries already with different deals. And then all of a sudden, you put them with Aphria, who's even bigger than Nuvera. And now I believe the stat was they're in 11 different countries with Aphria and Nuvera put together, which is amazing. I think that's the most out of anybody. But you've got to look into what type of synergies are those two companies going to have. I don't know enough about them to really know, but I do like them. But just understand, it's probably better to look into Aphria now. And you look into what Nuvera was before, but in just a short little while, they're going to become Aphria. So really, we should be asking, what do you think about Aphria? Which I do like Aphria as well. Yeah, so Chris, you just brought up THCX. I always mess up their names, so I'm not going to try it without seeing it written down. But they're based out of Quebec. They got a deal with Quebec for being one of the licensed producers as well. They are very, very interesting companies. And I made a comment earlier when I first started this that I watched or I read some of these investor presentations. I thought to myself, wow, this is a very interesting company. Why don't I own this company? They're definitely one of them because they have a really, really large product line of, I think it started as low as like $6 for a gram of one of their cannabis, up to $15 for their cannabis as well. They also have that Elixir. Elixir is a CBD spray that looks like a mint spray. It looks like you would never know it was cannabis. And I think that's going to be a pretty big thing as well, especially when people just do it for wellness or they do it because they're trying to, prevent their epilepsy. They're trying to prevent seizures. They're able to use these types of products. The deal that they have with Quebec is massive because that's a big deal that they got that supply deal from them. They have a pretty big facility, and I don't know the exact numbers. I have to go back into it, but they're also building a facility that is very big. So they're going to be one of those large companies. I should have mentioned them alongside with Aurora and T-God and things like that. These are companies who are going to be your big LPs. They're going to be your big companies. Sooner or later, they're going to start fighting as well, and they're going to start having to eat into market share. It's going to be an interesting next few years, but they're going to be a dominant force, and having those deep French ties. A lot of their names, like a lot of them, are from Quebec. That's very important. If you know anything about the Montreal Canadiens, almost everywhere on there, they are from Quebec. There's a lot of loyalty. There's a lot of heritage in that province. I think that's going to really bode well for them. And I think they're going to do very, very well. So definitely a company. Again, go on to their website, go on to their investor presentation. It really is one of the top 3 or 4 of the entire sector. It was so well done. You know they professionally did it. You know it wasn't made on PowerPoint or anything like that, which some of these ones unfortunately do look like. Very, very good company. I'm continuing to look into them. I'm actually trying to find a price to get into them personally, but just haven't yet. Yeah, exactly. Quebecers like to buy from Quebec. Absolutely, it's a strong province. They stick with each other, so absolutely. Charles, what about MMJ? I don't know if you mean about the company itself or about the video coming out, but we do have a few-minute video where you're going to be able to see their facility and things like that. It's really, really interesting to see just what goes into having one of these facilities. I was amazed that at one point we got locked in one corridor because no matter where you go, you need a key fob to get in or out. It's all locked down, and for like 5 minutes I was yelling, trying to get someone's attention because the master grower who had the key had left the room. But it was really interesting to see all of that. It was really, really cool. I think Medica, they've got a lot of things that they're planning to do. A lot of things coming down the pipeline that it's not like I know something you don't know. I don't know about it either, but you talk about them, and Boris has said it as well in different news releases and things like that. They're looking into expansions. They're looking into different avenues of cannabis to go into. They're looking for these different areas and different ways of making their company better. And it's really interesting. I think it's going to be a very interesting few weeks for them, or a few months for them, but also for a lot of our other players and other LPs, because I guarantee all of them right now are trying to find new ways of revenue streams, new ways of getting more capacity, new ways of finding new revenue, new distribution deals. It's going to be an active summer, when usually our summers in the stock market, especially cannabis, are usually very dull and there's not much going on. I do not think that's going to be the norm this year. I think we're going to break the trend of the last 3 or 4 years because we have so much going on, so much more to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a lot more mergers and acquisitions over the last little while. I'm absolutely amazed we didn't see that back in February. You didn't see Emblem or Organogram get bought out. I'm very, very surprised by that, to be honest. They have so much cash on hand. Emblem has $83 million of cash on hand, and last I checked, their market cap was $164 million. Half of their value of their company is in cash from their private raise they just did and just having cash in general. So I'm really, really surprised that they haven't been bought out. I don't know. I haven't spoken to any of their management, so it's only just going off of what they have to offer, how they'd be a great arm to another company. So I don't have any information on that. It's not going to happen just because I say it is. But I'm surprised we haven't seen it. But I'm excited for this summer. It's going to be really cool. Do I think MMJ is a buyout candidate? So I think any company that's not Aurora, Canopy, Aphria, or one of those major companies are buyout candidates. I don't have any right to say that. This is all a personal opinion. But a lot of these companies are, they're growing, and they're growing. Some of them are growing simply to be able to have a company that is able to give their shareholders value by having a buyout. Other companies are growing, and all of a sudden a bigger company comes by and says, "We want you," and they grab them. I mean, look at Aurora taking out CMed, Canamed. That was huge. Canamed was around for over a decade before they went public, and like that, a $1 billion company was taken out. So for that reason alone, any company is a buyout company. Yeah, Alex, going back on Organogram, yeah, you know what? I really do think they're a good buyout candidate, not just because of that, but you read around, a lot of other people have that opinion as well. Again, I've never spoken to their management, but I know that a few weeks ago I found out they got their first phase of their organic license back, which is a huge step for them. And I would not be surprised if you saw the likes of, say, the Green Organic Dutchman having a partnership with them, or just taking them out, because they're going to be a monster company, and they're tied with Aurora, who is a monster company. I would be very surprised if Organogram, being one of the, there's not that many organic players out there, if they're not an acquisition target for those people, at least in their, to talk about. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there, but I'm very surprised Organogram and Emblem, their prices went at least half of what it was. How did they not get taken out at that time? I don't know. I'm an outsider looking in. The more we do these videos and the more we reach out to different LPs, I've reached out to numerous LPs. I want to be able to talk to a few more, hopefully get you some more interviews and videos. We as Follow the Money really want to continue to do that. So it'd be really, really nice to be able to talk to more. So maybe we have a little bit more information of how different LPs think of the market, how they look at different companies. But I'm really an outsider looking in this respect, talking about Organogram and Emblem. It's just my opinion, what I read, what I see, and what I feel. So take that as a grain of sand. I'm not saying they are going to get taken out, but they're definitely takeout candidates. Absolutely. Ross, to you. You're talking about oils. All provinces have signed or are in process of signing the dried cannabis. When do you see them starting to sign deals for oils and THC? That's a phenomenal question because I'm not too sure right now. It goes on to say, do you think online is going to be a huge thing? I think online is going to be massive. I think online is going to be one of the ways to get a hold of cannabis, both through the derivatives and through the flower itself. I think online is going to be massive. So Shopify getting that deal was huge for Shopify. I know Canada Post is going to be doing a lot of those deliveries as well. And I really think that's going to be a big aspect because, again, think of how many people just want to buy from home. It's so easy. If you already know your prescription, if you already know and you're able to do oils over online, to be very honest, I've actually never looked into that. Can you buy oils online? I'm almost positive you can. But if you already know your prescription and you're able to do that, why wouldn't you do that? So it'll be very interesting. The provinces, I don't know if the provinces are necessarily going to ask for the oils. I think it's a little bit different. I think you're going to see like Shoppers and the Rexalls. I think they're going to be more involved with oils, and I do think you're going to start seeing deals come out soon. Because I'm surprised there aren't any, but I don't think necessarily that the provinces would, because I don't think the LCBO is going to be your go-to place for your medicinal CBD oil. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think they're going to be mostly recreational. So in that case, for Ontario, then who do you get it from? You get it from Shoppers, or you get it from online, or you're going to the LPs and stuff like that. So I think you're not going to necessarily get it. You're saying, yes, you can, good. You can get it online, but I think that's going to be huge. It's going to be so convenient. You're going to be able to scroll down and pick your cannabis and pick your oils and just have it sent to your house. I mean, I'm not that old, but when I was a teenager, this was not a reality whatsoever. And the fact that it is it still makes me laugh sometimes, just based on how far we've come with our viewpoint on cannabis. But I think online sales are going to be massive, which is one reason why I think the Shopify deal it's a big deal for them. So we'll have to wait and see what comes of it. Dan, what do I think about Puff? I really haven't put much time in them, to be honest. They're one that I watch. I watch their stock price from time to time. They're partners in an Aussie play. Australia is a very interesting thing to look into as well, but still a small market over there. To be very honest, I don't know much about them, so unfortunately I can't go into depth too much about them. But I know people who are in them, and they enjoy it a lot. Actually, they like that company a lot. Namaste, Jet. My apologies there. I think Namaste is a lot like ISOL, not the company-wise, just their share price-wise. Same type of thing, skyrocketed out of nowhere, even though they keep coming up with great news and different ways of, Namaste's online presence is massive, and that's just going to continue to grow. And they had a deal out, or they had a press release talking about Shopify. Is this something that concerns you? And they said, no, we're not in competition with Shopify. We use Shopify to be able to market our products and things like that. So I think they're going to be a good company as well. I just think it's the same thing as ISIL and other players. Their stock price went up by so much. Go back and look at these companies' stock prices in just November, September, October even, when it was actually still really starting to go up there. But all these months, when you look at that, you realize, their stock prices are still very, very good. If you come to me and say, hey, I'm going to tell you to go into this company and it's going to go up 100% in a year, these ones are way more than 100%, are you not going to be happy with that? I think we live in almost a fake world right now where things are going up 20%, 30% a day. You have to realize that's not normal. That doesn't happen all the time. And the fact that it's happening for an entire sector is insane. You have to understand, moving forward, after this next rush, I don't know if you're going to really see this type of action anymore. I think what you're going to see is start seeing the winners become winners, the losers become losers, and those winners will continue to rise over time and continue to build on it. I truly think that people like Canopy one day are going to be $100 stocks. I really do. They're growing at such an exponential rate. Is that going to be this year, next year, 5 years from now? I'm not going to try to make that prediction, but I think they're going to be massive. Always did, since they're my first stock I ever bought. And I still think They are going to be one of the winners in North America, in the world. So those companies are here to stay, but we're not going to see these crazy companies come out and go up by 300%, 295% PES. Pascal Biosciences did intraday. That's unheard of usually, unless you're like a penny stock in mining, which this was a penny stock, 10 cents, 18 cents before it shot up. But you've got to prepare yourself that and start having more realistic expectations. These stocks are going to start to normalize. They're going to be not as volatile, but what I think they're going to be very soon, which is going to be very interesting, I think some of these big guys are going to be blue chip stocks. I truly, truly do. And for those that have thousands and thousands of them from when they were 10 cents or 20 cents, they're going to get a lot of dividend money coming up in the future. Not right now, because all the money is being put back in the business, because you have to grow as big as possible right now to take your market share, to make you too big for other fish to eat. But soon, I think they're going to have so much revenue, and I hope so much profit, that they're going to begin becoming blue chip companies that don't fluctuate as crazy as they are right now, and they're going to be paying dividends on a normal basis. So really, really interesting to see how that continues to come out. The Namaste app and online sales, I think you're talking about because Shopify got that big deal and they were wondering about that. I didn't mention, go look it up so that his words, not mine. Their CEO, Namaste CEO, made a comment about that, about Shopify, and how he's not worried about that deal because Shopify will be the company that they're using to give their products to other people. They're going to be going through that. So I'd have to go back and reread it perfectly. I've had a lot going on this last few weeks. As I said earlier, I had 4 exams in 3 days. I've been working with Greg and our Follow the Money team. Over 70 hours went into that investor presentation. You might not look it, but believe me, we put a lot of information, a lot of time into finding all that information, making it look so it's clean to your eyes, going through the rating scheme and stuff like that. A lot of time it is. So I'm tired. I don't remember all these things, but look up the Namaste release. He did it specifically on Shopify and on online sales, and it was very bullish to me. He understood what was going on and he liked it. Okay, what time are we at here? Almost at 9 o'clock. We usually do these for about an hour. I'm not sure if there are any other questions or if we'll call this one a little bit short. I got a few things I still need to get done. I got 3 more exams next week. It never stops. We got a lot of stuff in the back of the scenes that Follow the Money working as well, so it'll be really interesting. So I don't see any more questions coming in. I'll stop it there because I just want to come on, talk about our spreadsheet, talk about the video that we're going to be coming out in the next little while. We'll tell you exactly when, as soon as we know. Now that we have the green light to release it, now we need to do some editing and things like that. So. And yeah, get prepared for tomorrow. I didn't even look at my portfolio today. I'm looking at it now. I'm seeing some things I'm really happy at, and I'm seeing some things I need to evaluate what happened today. So a few things like that, but thanks for joining in again. I hope everyone enjoyed your night tonight. Remember to always continue to just do your due diligence. Continue to learn, continue to know. The more knowledge you have, the less scary this market will be when the prices are going up or the prices are going down. Obviously not scary when they go up, but you still know why they're going up, just in case they're about to come right back down again. The more you know, and the more you ask, and the more you read investor presentations, I'm telling you, get to that spreadsheet. Look up different things. If you don't want to use a spreadsheet because you think it's a Follow the Money plug, go on their website. Look at their different things. I just put it all, Greg and I and the rest of the Follow the Money team, we just put it into one spot. You can go to their websites as well. But look at the information. The more you know about them, the better you feel about your investment. The more you know about what's going on, and more so, the more you can compare the good companies from the bad. Because we're not going to necessarily point those out too often. We'll point out things, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for due diligence on all the different companies. So put your time in, look into it. If you have questions, just let me know. And just look out for all the different things we're going to be having coming up in the next little while. So have a good night, everybody. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow in the Cannabis Chat for those that are in there. If not, we'll talk soon. Take care, everyone.